Okay. Is this visible to you? Is the slides, are they visible?
Yes, yes.
Yes?
Yes, miss.
Okay, okay, fine. So you see, we're going to start with the foundation course in English, that is APG2. Fine. So these are the things that we have here in our syllabus. So we'll start with note taking, then move on to summary of passage, then we'll move on to paragraph writing. You also have another question to write, that is picture composition, and finally report writing. Okay, so we'll start with note taking. So before we start, can you tell me what note taking is? What do you mean by note taking? Anybody, if you can just put on your microphone and answer. Anyone who would like to answer? Yes. Okay, fine. So I think you see, you have all taken notes, right? So we all take notes. So in classes, especially taking class notes are very common, right? So when your teacher gives a lecture in class, what do? You generally take notes, right? So now when you take notes, do you write full points? Whatever your teacher says, is it possible to note down word to word of the lecture?
Sometimes no, ma'am.
Not
No.
possible, right? Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
possible. So what do? We normally try to uh, jot down the points which are important and which can be referred to at a later stage, right? So you see, when we write a note, there is a specific purpose. When we make notes or we take notes, there's a specific purpose behind it. One is either we note down what the speaker, so whoever the speaker is, maybe your class teacher, the teacher who is giving lecture to you, you would like to write down the points he or she is giving in class, or to listen to someone giving a lecture, or say in a seminar, and you want to write down the main points, right? So you see, there's a specific purpose behind taking notes, right? So first is either you want to record the points or the things, if you feel they are important to you, you would like to jot down the points from the speaker or the writer. And secondly is you should be able to refer to these points at a later
Yes,
stage.
yes, you
Now,
answer.
if you take class notes, normally you refer to your class notes before your exams, or maybe when you're writing an answer, you have to write an answer and you normally go back to the things that were done in class, and therefore the points that you already you had jotted down during your class helps you to recollect what was done in class, right? And if you have jotted down all the main points,
Ma'am,
say
freeze
you
होएगा
have
actually.
almost the entire answer in front of you, all you have to do is elaborate on the main points, right? So you see, either you are listening to somebody, and as the person speaks, you are writing down the points, main points, or maybe you see before exams, or when maybe you have to make a you have to do a little bit of research work, so you have to read a lot of things on the topic, on your given topic, written by different people, right? So what you do as you read, do you think, you see, if you are looking for something important, do you write anything, or do you take anything or and everything that is given in the book? When you write a particular answer, do you copy everything from the book? You
No, no.
normally don't copy.
No,
Yeah,
ma'am.
you normally don't do that, right? Because everything that is given in the book may not be relevant for you or for the answer that you are writing. So what you do is you skim through the entire thing. You skim read. Skim read means you give a very fast reading through the entire, say, the article, and then you try to, as you read, maybe you underline the main points or you jot down the main points, where which you can refer at a later time when you are writing your own answer. Okay, so normally taking notes either from a speaker who is speaking, giving a lecture, you want to write down the main points. You may need later on to elaborate on the points, write the answer maybe. Or secondly, when you're reading a book and you have to get the, there's some purpose or the other why you are going through it, and then you're jotting down the main points which you can correlate later on. You can make it into a sentence or a paragraph or an answer, right? So this is the main purpose of note taking, right? Now, you see, when we take notes, there are certain deduction devices that we use. Deduction devices means some shortcuts that we use, right? Short forms maybe, right? So what happens is, you see, when a person is giving lecture, uh, it is impossible for you to take down every word of what you say. So first thing, you try to just jot down the main points. Now, why do you do that? Why do you do that? There are again two reasons why you do that. Because it helps time. Okay, so when you are noting down something from a book, there also, if you're writing down in points, it saves your time. And secondly, if you're listening to somebody, there also, if you note down the main points, again, you are saving time. Because you see, when you're reading from a book, at least you have the book with you. You can always refer back to it later on for the points if you've missed any. But when you're listening to somebody, when a lecture is going on, there will not be repetition. All right. So you cannot replay it once more, right? So what you do is you always take notes in in short, you use short sentences. You just note down the important points so that you can always go back to them later on and recollect what was done. So now, when there are certain techniques or certain ways in which we can, write the main points, again, the main points in least possible time. All right. So, in order to write the main points in the least possible time, there are certain ways which we can use. Okay, some certain techniques. Now we'll come to the techniques now. Yes. So, you see, many a times what we do is we use certain symbols. All right, so now suppose we are writing down a process. Okay, so the person who is giving a lecture, he's talking about a certain process, like suppose the process of making tea. All right, so as he explains how to make tea, you don't write the entire process word to word. What you do, you can sometimes use arrows. All right, suppose first you ignite the gas. That is the first point. So from there, you put an arrow and you write a container with water. You put it on the gas. So put an arrow to write that. After you have written that, you again put an arrow uh, where you write, let the water boil. All right. So after you have written, let the water boil, you see, as you are writing this, what are you writing? What are you doing when you're writing this? You're actually writing the main points and you're adding one point to the other with the help of an arrow, right? So you're writing the entire process of making tea, and here you're just writing the main words or the important words, and you are adding or relating one step. That is the first step to the second step with the help of an arrow. Okay. Next that we can do is when we write the main points, what we do many times we underline the main point, right? So you can even use different colors. Normally, what we do, we maybe you are writing in black pen and you underline with a red one, so that that particular word is highlighted, and when you go back to your notes later on, What you do is you just if, the moment you see the word which is underlined with a red, you understand that it is the most important point that I have to remember. Okay, so you can use arrows. You can even you can underline the main words which you think are important. Maybe you can use a different color for that matter. You can also use mathematical symbols. All right. So if I say mathematical symbols, that means what? Any idea what is a mathematical symbol?
Equal to,
Yes. Equal
addition.
to, right. Very good. Equal to. We can say. We can even give the symbols of greater than or lesser than. Yes. Right. So
Yes.
since therefore this other therefore how we write it, 1 point on top and two below. Okay, so that somehow it makes the shape. It takes when the points are joined, they can take the shape of a triangle. So therefore, we use three dots to represent the symbol. Right. You see, when we want to say, suppose this is equal to this, instead of writing is equal to, which takes time, we use the mathematical symbol equals. That is two short perpendicular lines, right? Okay, and say, how we use the symbol greater than or lesser than. You know, the symbol is called crocodile's mouth. The children are mostly taught to write greater than and lesser than symbols, uh, and they use it as they call it crocodile's mouth. All right. So the part which opens wider, that is greater than, and where the two lines meet, that is the lesser than. Now, you see, another technique that we mostly use when we want to take notes is abbreviations. I'm sure you know what abbreviations are. Yes, you know abbreviations. That means short forms, right? So, like units of measurements, kg. We don't say kilogram, we write kg, K and G. Okay. Even say centimeter, millimeter, length, all right, height. So for all that, we normally use the abbreviated forms. And when you're taking notes, make sure that you use the abbreviated forms because that is going to help you save as much time as possible, right? So since there are no repetitions, the speaker is not repeating his points. He is speaking to you, he is talking to you, he's giving a lecture. So he's not going to repeat his points. What you have to do is you have to note down the main points or the important points, and abbreviations would help you a lot, right? Okay. Next is like useful abbreviations of words and phrases, right? So now the example that I would give you for this is for example. All right. So how do we write for example? What is the symbol
I
that we
dot E.
use?
I dot E.
I dot E is that is. For example, is EG. Yes?
Yes.
Right. Suppose sometimes even for because, right? This is SMS, you see, courtesy SMS language, because has become B hyphen, yeah, and then you put a colon and then write COZ, right? Because, right? So when you are taking notes, you can have or you can even make your own abbreviation for particular words or phrases which you feel will are being repeated in the lecture throughout. All right. So suppose the lecture is on a place, and so the name of the place, which is coming over and over again, instead of writing the full name, you can always use shortcuts, right? Abbreviated forms. Suppose the person is talking about England. So instead of writing ENGLAND all the time, you can always write ENGLAND or ENGL, whatever suits you. Something that you will be able to understand at a later stage. Remember that. Whenever you are free to use symbols, you are free to use abbreviations, but make sure that you understand them at a later stage. All right. Or if somebody wants something to be clarified by you, you should be able to tell them what the abbreviated forms, what do they mean, that should be clear to you as well as to the person you are speaking to. Just keep that in mind. Okay. Well, the next, the tool that we can use is shortening of the last few words like shun, EION, or SION. So if it's, say, suppose communication, okay, so it is COMMUNI, communi, CATION. So instead of that, you can, maybe you write a few letters of the first part and the last TION that can be written on the top of the communication, the first part, just with a symbol. You make a symbol and write it there. Okay, so maybe only N. So you use that symbol for TION. So anytime the word communication comes throughout the lecture, you always use that for TION or SION. Okay, so suppose COM, and on top of N, you just write another N or a symbol which will represent TION or SION to you. But make sure you again remember what you have written, the short form. Uh, well, another of the techniques, another of the reduction devices that we can use is shortening of long words. All right. So if there are very, very long words, you can simply shorten them. All right. So write a few words of, say, again, suppose communication. If you take that word, you can simply write COMN. And that means communication to, right? So you see, these are all called the reduction devices, which help you to jot down the points faster. And later on, when you get back to your points, you know exactly what you had written. And that way, it saves your time a lot. Okay. Now, uh, after you have written down the forms, later on, what you have to do is, what you would like to do is, you are going to, maybe you would like to join all your points together. All right, keep it properly. So what you can do, you can have a heading followed by the subsequent points. Okay, so when the main point which you have, you think is the most important point, you can use that as a heading, and then you can write the subsequent points which you feel should come under that particular heading as your sub points, okay, or as your subordinate, right? So in this reference, you see, I would like to go back to your question paper. All right. So if you have the question paper, the FEG2 as assignment paper with you, you will see that you have been given there a big passage. All right. A passage has been given to you. All that you have to do is you have to read the passage carefully and make notes. All right, you have to take, you have to the this is the read the following passage and make notes in an appropriate format. Now when we say in an appropriate format, the format is this, where you have the heading followed by subsequent subpoints. All right, and you see here it is a passage given on the face called Belgravia, which is located in central London. So now, when you read the entire passage that is given to you and start making notes, you have to make sure that you make notes for each of the paragraphs separately. All right. So suppose when you're talking about the first paragraph and you want to make a note, so what you can do is, just a moment. So suppose you are talking about the first paragraph. So what you can do is you can write one, point number one, and give heading to the first paragraph. Okay. So suppose you want to talk about here, you see Belgravia is the place which has been described in the entire passage, and you want to write the first paragraph, and the first paragraph could be the headline or the heading for the first paragraph could be you could put number one, and then you write Belgravia, a district. Okay, so it can be anything. I'm just giving an example here. And if that is your heading, below that, you can write the subpoints. And when you write the subpoints, what you have to do? You are going to write 1.1. That means that 1.1 belongs to the heading 1. All right. So heading, you number the heading as 1, and then you write the heading. It could be Belgravia district, or it could also be, say, suppose simply Belgravia. All right. Where you want to just sort of few points which are given in the first paragraph, and you want the name to be given Belgravia or the heading to be given Belgravia. Okay, so the subpoints will be 1.1, where you may write a district shares in the district in central London. That could be your first point. Okay, first subpoint 1.1. So with if you make the first point as Belgravia, a district, within the subpoint you can write 1.1 as district in central London. Okay, if you feel there are some more points in the paragraph, you can give the subsequent subpoints as 1.2, 1.3, and so on. So if the paragraph is very big, you can have 4, 5 subpoints. If you feel the paragraph is not big enough and there are not too many points to write, then you can simply use 1 or 2 subpoints. And sometimes it even happens that there's only one sentence for the entire paragraph, and you can simply give the number of the paragraph and give the heading that would suffice for that particular paragraph. Okay, so here coming to this point again, so suppose point number one is Belgravia or district, and under that we write 1.1 district in central London. I have some more points also to write, so I can use 1.2, which can be a very expensive residential properties. That could be 1.2. 1.3 could be wealthiest district in the world. Okay, so for this particular paragraph, we got 3 points. All right, so you can get as many, right? So if you feel you have to write more than what, there are more points to write for that particular paragraph, of course you can write. If you feel there are not too many points, then also you can have 1 or 2 subpoints, or you may not have any subpoint at all. You feel that the paragraph is quite short, right? So in your question number 1 of APG2 paper, the entire passage is of 7 paragraphs in all. So some of the paragraphs are quite short, some are big. So the subpoints will be accordingly. Okay, if the paragraph is short, you may have less points. If the paragraph is a big one, again, you can have as many points you feel are related and relevant for that paragraph, okay, or can be used in the subpoint. So that is totally up to you. You have to, the main thing is you have to find out, you have to understand whether the points that you are writing are related or not, whether you are repeating points, that also you have to consider. All right, if you feel that one point has already been given in one of the paragraphs earlier, you need not repeat that point again. as only because it is given. It comes again in some other paragraph at a later stage. All right. Now, another important part of note making is, you see, I've talked to you about the reduction devices, right? Using the short forms. Now, you can use, see, 4 to 6. You should use in your answer 4 to 6 short forms. All right, 4 to 6 this reductions devices. You can use symbols, you can use short forms of words, you can even use short forms of sentences, you can use mathematical symbols, whatever, but you have to use 4 to 6 this short form when you make the note for this particular question. Because writing the short forms, it carries some extra mark. All right. Well, after you have written the entire note, there is another important thing to do here is that you have to give the full forms of the abbreviated forms. All right. So when you make the short forms, it's fine, but then make sure that you don't forget to give the full forms. Okay. So suppose you see the word Belgravia, it comes throughout the, right? So instead of writing Belgravia all the time, you can make a short form, and you can suppose it can be BEL or BLG or B, whatever. All right. So if you feel that you have to, write this particular word in short because it is coming over and over again throughout the passage, you make a short form of that particular verse. But make sure that at the end, after you finish writing the entire note, at the end you make a box and there you write the full forms, the heading, full forms of the abbreviated forms, and then write it. Now, suppose EG you have written, for example. So again, for example, equals to, or put an arrow and write EG. Okay. Or since you have used the short form, it's better that you write the short form first and then put an arrow and give the full form of the word that you have used. You have made short form. Okay, so this is all about note taking, and make sure again.
Hi.
Yes. Anything that you want?
Second. Yeah.
Pardon?
So just I wanted to ask, ma'am, the second paragraph would be 2.1, 2.2, and third would be 3.1, 3.2.
Yes. Second paragraph would be 2 for the heading, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3 for the subsequent subpoints. Okay. Similarly,
Okay.
3 for the heading for the third paragraph, number 3 heading for the third paragraph, and the subsequent points 3.1. Now, suppose you have some, subpoint under a subpoint, right? Suppose it is, you give examples in a separate subpoint. So it can be, say, suppose 3 is for the paragraph heading, then comes 3.1, and under that, you have 3.1.1 if you want to give another point. Understood?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
So, yeah, thank you. All right, so this is the way we make the notes, right? So I'm sure I don't need to repeat this once more, or if you have any questions related to it, you can ask. Anybody, if you have any questions? Fine, I think it's okay, right? So again, I'll give you the, a very short running through the entire thing that we have just done. So it is going through the passage, jotting down the important points, making the heading, and writing the subsequent points that should come within that particular heading. You feel that they should come within that particular heading. So it is 1 for first paragraph. If the heading 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, as many subpoints you feel are required for that particular paragraph, you write that. Then move on to the next paragraph. Again, the same way, 2 heading 2.1, 2.3, even 2.3. 2.1, 2.3.1, or 3. I'm sorry, 2.3.2 can also come, right? So there can be a subpoint under a subpoint as well, but make sure that you mark it properly, you number it properly, clearly. All right. So one point should not get mixed up with the other. And if you feel there are repetitions, don't give those points. Don't repeat your points. At the end, after you've finished all the notes, then all paragraphs are complete, and you have also used certain abbreviations. The last at the end, you're going to make a box, give the full forms of the abbreviated forms. Okay, right. So now we shall move on to summary writing. All right. So again, if you have your question paper, question number 2 is summary writing. All right. And so what we do is, see here, summary writing is based on the passage on which you have already made the note. All right. So that makes your task much easier. A summary writing is what? Going through an entire passage and writing the main points, making, giving the main points or the message that the writer wants to give through the passage. All right. So you go through the entire passage and write a short form. In short, you talk about the same thing that the writer has given you, but your own words as much as possible. All right. Okay, so you can even see, you can paraphrase certain words. Paraphrase means write in your own words or using synonymous words for like that. Okay, now here what you have to do is you have to write a summary of the passage to suggest a suitable title. All right, so since the same passage you have already made notes on, so you already have your main points ready. Okay, so when you are, what you have to do here is only consolidate the main points. All right, that means to add up those main points with the help of, say, linking words or sentences, meaningful sentences, and that way you're going to get a, a very, you can get a cohesive, coherent paragraph ready for you. All right, yes. And noting will help you a lot. If you have written your notes properly, you know exactly what you have to write in the summary. And the summary obviously will not be as big as the paragraph. It has to be much shorter because you are using the main points, or you're highlighting the main points of the paragraph. And in this case, since you've already made your notes, you link your points together and see that the points, yeah, but the one most important part here is see that the sentences come in order. They are coherently placed. Okay, and the writing is also cohesive. That is, from one, it should not seem that you have simply,
Excuse me, ma'am.
just made the,
Ma'am, sorry to
Ma'am,
interrupt you, ma'am. Ma'am,
yes,
sorry to
ma'am.
yes,
interrupt you.
yeah.
Can you please?
Saifullah Shah, can you mute your mic?
Pardon?
Saifullah Shah, can you mute your mic?
Yes, sir.
It's disturbing us.
Yes, yes,
You can't hear?
Yeah, ma'am. You can continue
Just a
now.
moment, please.
You can continue now.
yes, ma'am. You can continue now.
Okay, is it okay?
Yes, 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 ma'am.
Audible?
Yes.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it too loud again?
No,
No, no,
no, no,
no.
no,
It's
no, no,
okay.
no.
Okay, no, all right. Oh, sorry, very sorry. You should have told me that I'm not audible. Could
No,
you hear
no.
me? Could you hear the previous things that I said?
Yes, yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, yes,
You are
yes,
okay.
yes.
You are okay. But Saifullah Shah from our group
Yeah.
uh,
Yes,
wasn't
yes,
mute
sir.
actually.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Somebody, some sound was coming, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Huh.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So has he put himself in,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes,
mute?
yes,
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 Okay,
yes,
yes.
yes.
muted himself, right? Okay,
Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
Yes, yes.
okay, fine. All right. So shall I continue? Is it okay?
Yes,
Can you
yeah, yeah, yeah.
understand whatever I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
All right. So if there are any problems, So you can ask, or if you feel that there's a doubt you need to clear, you can also stop me and ask. Okay, excuse yourself and ask. Right?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. So yeah. So when we talk about the summary writing, yes, you already have your points. You know what the passage is all about. You just try to, but make sure even when you're writing your summary that the sentences that you write are grammatically correct. All right. And since you had written notes earlier, they were in the forms of points. Okay, so summary will not be in the form of points. You have to write a proper paragraph. That is the difference. Okay, you have to write a proper paragraph for your summary. All right. Okay.
So one summary can be only in one paragraph, or it can also have multiple paragraphs.
It can also be of multiple paragraph if you feel that you have to change certain ideas. Okay, so it's always good that you for one idea you use one paragraph. All right. So if you feel that mostly what happens is at least 2-3 paragraphs, the points that you had written earlier, it can be made into one paragraph, and you can even change the paragraph. But if you feel that it's not very big and you can fit the entire summary within a paragraph, it's good enough. You can do that. Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, but here again, I'm reminding you, don't forget to give a suitable title to the paragraph. That is very, very essential. All right. And since in your, does this have a, no, it doesn't have any, the question doesn't have any heading. All right. That means there is no title given. So you have to suggest a suitable title to your summary. All right. That means a person, when he goes through your summary, he knows what you have written within the passage just by giving a glance to the heading that you have written. Understood? So that is very, very essential. A suitable title. That means a title which is related to the passage has to be given. Okay? All right. So let's move on to the next one now. Yes. So I'm going as per the assignment question paper so that I can touch upon all the different points and different questions that has been given here. Okay, and also I can tell you about the patterning, the way you have to write it. Now, the next one here, that is question number 3, is paragraph writing. And you have to write a paragraph within 100 to 150 words. All right. And there are 4 topics given. You can write on any one of the topics. And I'm sure, well, do you have the question papers in front of you right now?
No,
Okay,
ma'am.
even if you don't have it, the way I'm telling you, you will be able to understand which question comes when. All right. So later on, when you
Ma'am,
get your
can you share that question paper?
Yes, that all I am asking about.
this, I think I don't know whether I'll be able to. I think your study center is going to share you the question paper. Okay, please contact your study center, and I'm sure they are going to send you the question papers and very soon. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So, but I'm just giving you the patterns. Mostly you have the pattern. This is what the pattern is all about. All right. First, you have the note taking, then you have the summary writing, followed by paragraph writing. So now when you write a paragraph, 100 and 100 and the word limit is 100 to 150. So that means it's not much. Now, can you tell me what all, you see, I've already given some of the points here, but how do you write a paragraph? Anybody, if you can tell me that? I'm sure you've written numerous paragraphs in school or in college, right? Yes?
Not so much, ma'am.
Not too many? All right, fine. Okay, so you see here what happens is in a paragraph, the topic is already given to you. There are 4 topics that has been given here. I'll read out the topics so that you have an idea, all right? Say the first one is travel broadens your mind. Okay, next is learning a new language. Next is choosing a career, and number 4, virtual friends. Okay, so you see, when a topic is given to you and you have to write a paragraph, the first thing that you have to think about is what. Any idea? If I tell, say, suppose, this I think is the most relevant topic uh, these days, like the time that we are all going through is virtual friends. All right. So let's have a short discussion on this particular topic. Anybody would like to say, like, when I say virtual friends, what are the thoughts that comes into your mind? Any one of you can talk about that.
Facebook friends.
Yes, right. Yes. These are the different
Mm,
platforms, right? Virtual
yeah,
platforms. Yeah,
social platforms.
right. Social media platforms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
Virtual,
Virtual. Yeah, virtual.
virtual friends are those friends whom we have never met physically, but we know them on digital platform.
Right. Yes. All right. So, do you think, like this time, pandemic time, the having virtual friends can help you? Does that help? Having virtual friends?
Sometimes it helps and sometimes it is not.
Okay. Yeah. When does it help and when it does not?
It actually depends on the scenario that what we are actually doing. Like if
Yes.
we are building a project and from an autonomous group, then we can communicate with each other and can share the information so we can build the project properly. Or sometime like we are playing games and there also we can make our friends where we can build up a team and like that.
Right. Fine. So there are, you see, when you just, by hearing the word, these two words, virtual friend, the topic, lots of things are coming into your mind, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah. So what you have to do is the points that comes into your mind, just jot them down somewhere. All right. Before you start writing the paragraph. So
Yep.
after you've got your points, what you can do is think of a sentence, a main sentence. Maybe you can start with that sentence, or you can have it somewhere within the passage, or you can even conclude with that particular sentence, which is related to the topic. Okay. Now, that sentence is called the topic sentence. Okay. So, you
Okay.
should have the topic sentence, the sentence which talks about the paragraph, that is the topic that has been given to you. Right. So, the sentence should be related to the topic. You can start the paragraph with the topic sentence. You can have it somewhere within the paragraph as you talk about it, or you can also conclude the paragraph with the topic sentence. All right. So topic sentence that way is very, very important. Now, once you have, suppose you start your paragraph with the topic sentence. So now is the time when you are going to develop the sentence, that particular idea that you have. Okay. In one sentence, you have placed your idea, but now is the time when you're going to develop your idea throughout the passage. Okay. Next, keep in mind that your sentences should be interlinked, connected. It should flow one after, like one, as you keep on explaining, don't be haphazard. Like all of a sudden a point came into your mind and you write it, okay, and it's not related to the topic, maybe. All right. So you have to be very, very careful that your sentences are properly connected. Okay. And also you can use different methods, like how you do that. You can say, make sure that uh, your sentences, like the normal rules of grammar, they follow normal rules of grammar. They start with the capital letter, they end with a full stop. All right. The grammar pattern, the grammar that you use in the paragraph is related. Okay. So you don't you don't switch between the different tenses when you start writing your passage, start writing your sentences. Okay. and make sure that you give a proper conclusion to the paragraph. Now, when you start the sentence, when you start the paragraph, you start with the topic sentence, something related to the topic. You describe the topic as you move, as you move through the paragraph, and finally you conclude the paragraph properly with thought that you can, with maybe a single line summary of the entire passage that you have written, the entire paragraph that you have written. Okay. Okay. So this is very essential that your thought it moves in a cohesive way. That is, things are related, sentences are related. All of a sudden, you won't have a sentence that could be, could be irrelevant maybe at times. Okay, so that is something that you have to keep in mind. And also, when you write the paragraph, make sure that you write the heading. That is the topic. Start with the topic. That is the heading, and then you start writing the paragraph. Okay. Just a minute for something that. Yes. So there has to be a proper controlling idea. Okay, throughout as you move from the beginning to the middle part of the paragraph, and then you end it. Make sure there is a proper linking of your. And since it is say the word limit is also given 100 to 150 words, paragraph writing means writing all your thoughts on the given topic within a paragraph. Okay, so in paragraph writing, you don't change paragraphs. Okay, make sure keep this in mind. All right, and also that when you write a paragraph, there has to be a proper beginning, the middle portion where you are elaborating on the main point, and you conclude, you end the paragraph again with a short summary of what you have spoken about already earlier. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. This should be only in one paragraph. Am I right?
Paragraph writing is only one paragraph. All right. Whatever you have to write, 100 to 150 words. Okay. Make sure that you don't, you should adhere to the word limit that is given to you. All right. Don't write more than the word limit given or less than the word limit given. So it is 100 to 150. Your paragraph, if it is within say 140 to 150, it's good enough. All right. So if you finish by 100 words, it means that maybe you have not thought about the topic much. If you think more, you will be able to add something. All right, some other points. So make sure word limit is something that you maintain. And as you said, the paragraph writing means only one paragraph. You're not changing paragraphs at all. Okay. All right. Next is composition. Now, tell me what is the difference between a paragraph and a composition? Before we, yeah, tell me what is the difference between a composition and a paragraph?
In composition, we change para.
Yes. Yes, absolutely correct. We change paragraphs in a composition. Yeah. So, you see, if you already know how to write a paragraph, it's very easy to write a composition, right? Yeah. Yes. So composition, you see, objectives of writing a composition. What are the objectives? You should be able to, like, here, if say suppose if the topic is given to you, it's a little easier because the topic is already given. So all you have to do is think on the topic and brainstorm a little, write down the points, maybe search different uh, say different things, different books, different sites, and gain enough knowledge about the topic, and then write the composition. But sometimes composition, if this the topic is not given to you, it becomes a little difficult. Then you have to choose, you select your own topic, right? But here, as we go through this particular FEG question, you see that the next one is a composition, and here you see the topic is also given, right? Now, you have once the topic is given to you, it becomes easier for you because you can think in those lines. That means points which are related to the topic. Now, suppose a topic is given to you, the first thing that you do is you start thinking on the topic. Now, when you think on the topic, what happens is, like, composition writing, it actually helps to develop your skill of planning. All right. So when you write a composition, there are actually different parts of writing a composition. One is the pre-writing part, then the writing part, and then comes the post-writing part. All right. So when we talk about the pre-writing part, so when we talk about composition, you are given a topic, you should be able to write on the topic, and the main thing is thinking about the topic before you start writing. You write, and then comes the post-writing part where you have to edit on your writing, right? Okay. Now compositions, again, before we move on to different types of compositions, the structure. What is the structure of the composition? Let's come to the structure, so it will become easier. Anybody who knows what is the structure of a composition?
And first we start with the introduction and then body and then end it with the conclusion.
Conclusion, right? Absolutely. So make sure, like, you have to be very sure that you follow the pattern of composition writing. All right, the format is very, very essential. Now, many times it happens that people, they don't change paragraphs. Most of the time we see that even compositions, people have written very long paragraphs and maybe only one paragraph. So maybe you have all your points related to that particular composition, but since you have not maintained the format of the composition, you tend to lose marks. All right. So make sure that there's an introduction, then the body, and then the conclusion. These are the three parts that you have to maintain when you write a composition. Now, there are different types of compositions. So expository composition, argumentative, where a topic is given, where you have to, give your arguments for the topic or against the topic, or whether you have to actually reason why you support the topic or you don't support the topic, you disagree with the topic. So the first one, expository, is actually giving some kind of information and persuading the reader. That is, persuading means what? You make the reader understand your viewpoint. You elaborate on it, you explain stuff. Okay, that is expository. Argumentative, arguments for or against. Why you approve this, or why you don't approve of a particular point that has been given. Okay, so here actually your logical skills and your rhetorical skills, they are developed and they are utilized in an argumentative essay or composition. Narrative, that means you are writing an account of an actual or imagined happening. That means maybe say a travelogue. All right. So you went somewhere, you went on a holiday in your summer vacation, and you write elaborately on the trip that you have. So they're actually were narrating. All right, the events or the things that happened one after the other. And descriptive is where the writer actually he wishes to present a picture of an object or scene or a person or a situation through words. So descriptive, you are describing a particular thing. It can be a person that you're talking about, it can be a scenery that you're talking about, it can be a particular object that you're talking about. Okay, so these are the four different types of these compositions that normally come. All right. Now, as we already talked about it, parts of a composition, the beginning, the body, and the end. Now, the beginning is the introduction that you have already said. And this introductory paragraph or the opening paragraph of the composition gives, what does it give? It gives the main idea of the composition on the topic. So the topic that has been given to you in the introduction, you write the main idea of the topic. Okay. Next comes the body of the composition. Now, the body of the composition can be of one paragraph or it can be of more than one paragraph. Okay. All right. So it depends on the kind of points that you have. So when you develop the central idea of the composition, you may have to bring in different points to narrate or express your ideas. All right. So that is very, very important how you describe your points. All right. Make sure that if you don't have too many points, you can keep the body within one paragraph. But if you have different points and different ideas, it is always wise to separate your paragraphs and you talk about only one idea in one paragraph. Okay. And now when you do this, what you have to do is when you talk about your idea, you try to substantiate your idea with enough, support. Okay. So that means you may give an example why you think what you think about the idea. To clarify your idea, you can give an example. You can talk, you can even give anecdotes. You know what anecdotes are? Short stories. Okay. So maybe, I'm sorry, you can talk about a particular event from somebody, a famous person's life or experience, or for example, an experience of your own life. Okay. And that can come as something that supports your idea. All right. So what you do is in the body, you develop the main idea of the topic that has been given to you. The main idea comes and that is developed, that is, presented in a way which talks about your viewpoints, like how you feel about the particular topic. And similarly, so after we have done the introduction, after you have finished writing the body where you have developed your ideas, you have put forward your viewpoints, last comes the ending. All right, that is the conclusion. Make sure that you have a proper paragraph for the conclusion. Now, conclusion means what? It brings together all the ideas that you have expressed throughout the composition. All right, and it is actually summarizing the entire composition at the end, so that when a person goes through the conclusion, he will be able to understand what you wanted to express or wanted to place in front of your audience throughout the entire composition. Okay, so we have the introduction where you talk about the main idea of the composition. Second, you have the body where you are elaborating on your points, giving examples, talking about experiences. You can also give, you say, data if you want to say compare between things. All right. So whatever it is you are explaining, you can write all your points within one paragraph. You can separate your paragraphs if you have different points. Okay, but make sure that the sentences that you use are related to one another. Your points can be related. Okay, something should not, come in out of the way, out of the topic. So you should not start talking about something which is not related to the topic. So that way you will move away from the main purpose of the topic. Okay, and finally we have the conclusion where you are writing the summary of the entire thing that you have written earlier. Right? Now there are certain techniques, for writing, any written piece. You can use this technique. This is called the Oreo technique. Okay, so Oreo, the first one is opinion, where that is actually the introductory paragraph of your composition, right? So here, write an introduction paragraph to tell your readers how you feel and think about something. Maybe think about the topic. That is your opinion, the first part, that is the introduction. Next is your reason. Give readers a reason explaining why you feel that way. All right. So that means you give 1 point. You put forward 1 point, substantiating your point with the example. All right, as I just said. All right. Only this, if you have this audio technique in front of you, it becomes easier for you to recollect the pattern. And the last one is the O, or the opinion, where tell your readers more than one time what you actually feel about the entire thing, about the entire topic, about the entire composition, and that becomes a very strong conclusion. So you see, a person maybe does not have much time to go through your entire essay, but if you go through your introductions and your conclusions, you should be able to understand what you wanted to talk about. All right. So your introduction should be very catchy, something very relevant, and your conclusion, in the same way, should give a nice summary of the entire thing that you have discussed earlier. So your conclusion could be only good when your body is also good. That means you have enough points, relevant points to talk about. Okay. So I think composition you should be able to write now. Okay. All right. But one thing that I'd like to add here is in your question paper, you will not be given a topic to write a composition on. But this one, in this particular question paper, you have been given certain pictures. All right. So this is actually picture composition. You have to write a composition of 250 to 300 words based on any one of the pictures given. So there are 4 pictures given here. You have to look at the picture and write a composition. That means whatever you feel while looking at the picture, you have to write in the form. You have to make a composition based on the picture given to you. Okay, the pattern will be same. The format is not going to change. Only instead of a topic, you have been given a picture. All right. And you see, when a picture is given to you, every person is going to interpret it in a different way, in his own way. All right. As he views the picture, the things that comes into his mind, suppose the things that comes into your mind, when you see the picture of a, say, early morning like the sunshine. Okay, the picture of say, suppose there's a picture of a sea and the sun rising. All right. So if you have this picture in front of you, you see, I may interpret it differently. You may interpret it differently. Your friend may interpret it differently. So people are going to interpret one particular picture differently as per as per their experiences, as per their beliefs, as per their thoughts, right? So when you do a picture composition, it's totally up to you how you deal with the picture. Okay, but make sure that you follow this technique. All right. That means there has to be a proper introduction. There has to be reasons that would come in your body of the composition, followed by examples to substantiate your viewpoint, and lastly, the conclusion. Okay. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So, shall we move on to the next? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, so this is report writing. So I'm sure you have written reports, yeah, sometime in your life, somewhere or the
Yes.
other, right? Yes. So what kind of reports have you written?
Previously, when I was in 10th standard, there was chapter report
Right,
writing. Yeah.
right,
Sometimes we have to report news or any incident or any event.
right, right,
Those
right.
reports, yeah.
Exactly. Yes, yes. Okay, so normally the kind of, you see, the newspaper reporting. Okay, so every morning when you open your newspaper, what do you see? What do you get? These
Like
days, some
first the topic, then the who is reading about and the story.
right, absolutely, yeah. Okay, so newspapers normally they publish reports on events, right? Things which have happened in the past. Something you get the newspaper only. Today's newspaper has the news from the previous day or the previous days, right? So normally when you're reporting an event, it is about what, the present or the past or the future. Which one?
Uh, Sometime both of them. Basically, it's about the past.
Yes,
Sometimes it gives us new, like it can be happen or
right,
it is happening right now. So
right,
both the
right. Yes.
natures
So
are
when
there.
we Very good. Yeah. So when we report events, sometimes the events which have already, that has happened, we get news on that. All right. Sometimes we have the reports on the events that are going on for a period of time. Say suppose the reports of the IPL that is supposed to go on in the future, or something. I suppose any event that is going on, a sports event that is going on right now. So the events will be reported throughout the time. Okay, so it's not only one day it's not a past event or a future event, but something that is going on. And also we see reports on events that are going to happen in the future, that are going to take place in the future. So events means what? What are events?
Events like there will be a concert or there will be a press conference or like
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. So some event is a function maybe. All right. Or say suppose in schools many a times we used to write report on, say, the sports day, right? Or the cultural day, maybe. All right. So the school, say, suppose the editor, he is writing about the reporter, he is writing about the events that were held in school of that particular. Say, a student is reporting about the events that were held in the, say, annual function, annual day. All right. So events means something or the other that has already happened or is going on at this moment or is going to happen in the future. All right. Next one is reporting interviews. So, what do you mean by this? Reporting interviews?
like the press conference or like there was an accident. I'm taking as an example. So the media actually taking an interview of a police officer who is investigate the accident, what was happening there.
Right. Yeah. Yes. Maybe somebody there was there the eyewitness, and
Yeah,
people there, you go out and interview that person to take his views, right?
yeah,
And then you report it in the newspaper or news channels.
yes.
Next is reporting service. What happens in service?
I
Survey reports. Have you heard of survey reports?
Yeah, I heard sometimes it's making a poll of the vote or like
Right.
that.
Yes. Yes. Right. Definitely. Yeah. Suppose, say the municipality or the health department, maybe they are making a survey. They are having a survey to find out how many, say, people were affected by malaria or dengue in the past season. Okay, so they are trying to find out the counts. They say out of a population, say, of 100, maybe 10% were affected. All right. So how can they get that? By making a survey, right? So they go from people to people. They keep asking. They ask. They take interviews. They want to know
Yeah.
what their medical reports were. If they suppose they were sick, they had a medical test done, and then they got the report that yes, they had either malaria or dengue, maybe. All right. So this way, surveys are done where you try to collect data to make a particular study. right? So if you want to have a study on a particular topic, what you have to do is you have to go and collect data. All right. So data is the main thing
Yes, ma'am.
of making a survey. Next is reporting meetings and speeches.
Yes.
Fine, right? You when you see, mostly you get this kind of reports on meetings, reports on speeches, interviews in say magazines, right? So
Yes.
suppose Outlook, the magazine, you get say interview reports or reports on meeting, this kind of things, and so on say the interviews mostly are taken, important people, they are interviewed on a particular thing, particular issue, and that interview is printed, right? Okay, and next is reporting experiments. So people who are from the science background, they would know that you always have to write reports on experiments.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So when we talk about report writing in your syllabus, you see the first four types of reports are important to you. Okay, so, but report writing is not reporting on experiments is not that important, because here there are not much scientific studies to be done. All right, so the above four reports are more important: reporting events, reporting interviews, reporting surveys, and reporting meetings and speeches. All right. So now I would like to come to the next question in your question paper. The question is, you are the academic secretary of your institution. Write a report in 250 words of a meeting held to discuss the forthcoming inter-university debate competition. All right. Did you get
Okay.
it, or
Yep.
do
Yeah.
I repeat it once more? Yeah, sure, I will. All right. You are the academic secretary of your institution. Write a report in 250 words of a meeting held to discuss the forthcoming inter-university debate competition. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So what? Right. So what kind of a report is this?
Uh, this is a service report.
Oh, okay. So what has been said, that you are an academic, you are the academic secretary of your
Mm-hmm.
institution. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And you are writing a report of a meeting held to discuss the forthcoming inter-university debate competition. Forthcoming means what? Forthcoming,
It will happen.
something that is going to happen, an event that is going to happen in the future.
Future.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he seems that it is a report on about it's a report on events, where you're talking about events. But actually, no, you have to write a report of a meeting. All right. And the meeting was
Okay.
held. Meeting was held about what? About the forthcoming inter-university debate competition. Right. So the event has not been held. What has been held? A meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Am I
Yeah.
clear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So here the meeting is actually held to plan about the forthcoming debate competition that your institution is organizing. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. So now when you write this kind of a report, you see, just I'll give you 2 minutes time to think on it, brainstorm, and get back. Okay. All of
Okay,
you
ma'am.
can think what are the things that you are going to include in this kind of a report, and get back. Hmm?
Okay.
Okay.
Please tell me whenever you are ready. Okay.
Like, ma'am, I'm not sure that I'm right or wrong. Well, let me tell you. Uh,
Yes.
there was a meeting about our exam when
Yes.
it happened. So
Okay. Hmm.
it can be an example.
Yes. Yes. Sure. Why not?
Okay. Um, okay, I'm running out of words.
It doesn't matter. You can just give me the points. That would be fine.
Okay. During the pandemic of COVID-19, we all know that
Yes.
we are having problem uh, to to go through the schedule programming and
Right.
all. So
Hmm.
the board arranged a meeting where they can find out the solution so that everything can be done according to the schedule. So they arrange a online exam or any other options. So
Yeah. So what would
uh,
they do? Yeah.
uh,
So how did they discuss about all this? When did they discuss?
okay, they discuss through an online platform
Okay.
like
Yeah.
uh,
What he's saying is that the people, say, suppose the examination department, they had an
yes,
online meeting amongst themselves and they decided it, right?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, great, great. So yeah, so similarly, something is it's almost a similar thing that is given in the question. All right. So now, when you talk about when you're writing a report of a meeting, what you normally have to do is, the person who writes the meeting is more or less present there. Okay. So if
Okay,
a
ma'am.
person is present there, then only he will know about the different things. Okay. So, and suppose you were not present, but you have to get the information from a person who was present during the meeting, right? Only
Okay,
he
yeah.
will be able to tell you about the things that happened during the meeting, right? So here, the question here, since you are the academic secretary of your institution, you have to be present, right,
Yes, ma'am.
during the meeting. Yes. So, and the things, when you write the report of a meeting, you should give first, when you start, you should give precise information about the organization. That means you are the academic head of your secretary of your institution. So you're going to talk about your institutions. That is, giving the name of the institution would be enough. Okay.
Oh,
Suppose ABC institution.
Just
Meeting
like
was
ma'am,
held. Pardon? Hello.
just like saying that academic secretary XYZ University.
Right, right, absolutely. Okay, so you see here, so you have to give the information about the organization and the venue. That means venue means where? What? What is venue?
yeah. The venue
What is
where
venue? Yeah.
it was held, or actually the venue means where it was held.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay, that was the place of meeting, the place where the meeting was held. Okay, and point the time. That means venue and time is very, very important. That means where the place where the meeting was held and at what time it was held. Okay, and also the agenda of the meeting. Okay, so when we say agenda, do you know what it is? Agenda of the meeting, what does it mean?
The purposes.
What is the topic of the
The
It is
points
the
on which the meeting.
point. Excellent. Yeah, the points on which the meeting was held. That means the points which were discussed in the meeting. Now, agenda are the points that are given to the people who are going to attend the meeting, and the points are given before the meeting. All right, so that
Okay.
people come, mentally prepared about things that are going to be discussed in the meeting. Okay.
Okay.
Right. So agenda are the points given to the participants before the meeting is held. So normally, when you schedule a meeting, you give the say venue and the date and the time, and also the agenda, so that when people come to join the meeting, participate in the meeting, they know exactly what are the things that are to be discussed, and they can come prepared. Okay. So
Okay.
suppose you have to yes. So suppose you are the person who is in charge of making the guest list. All right. So
Mhm.
if you have to make the guest list and present it during the meeting, what you will at least have some idea of the people you feel could be invited for the event, right?
Mhm.
Yes. So this could
Yes,
be
ma'am.
one of the points in the agenda. All right. So now, and there could be many points also. Suppose it's forthcoming, right? So forthcoming, whether the date has already been finalized or not. If it has been finalized, you know that on this day the debate competition is going to be held. If not, maybe uh, finalizing the date of the event is one of the points given in the agenda. Understood? Yes. So another point could be, you see, if since it is uh, an inter-university debate competition, that means you should also know, or you should also think about the universities or the colleges, maybe who you are going to invite to participate in the debate competition, right? So agenda could be, um, the names of the universities or the colleges to be invited. That could also be one of the points of the agenda. All right. So agenda are the points on which discussions will be held during the meeting. So before a person is sent an invitation to participate in a meeting, these are the few things which are to be given to him, informed to him. Okay. So when you write the report of a meeting report, these are the things that you have to give in mind, right? So the first thing that I said is information about the organization, followed by the venue and the time, and of course the date and the agenda of the meeting. Yeah, am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes. So now what you should do is you should report not only the final decisions. That means finally these are the things that were discussed. Okay, it's not only that, but also the arguments of various speakers. All right. So maybe while deciding about the people who are, or the universities or the colleges who are to be invited, you had a discussion. Okay. So say Mr. A, he proposed the names of this colleges. Mr. B, he added on to it. Or Mr. C, he wanted to defy. He did not agree, and he had a different point of view. Right. So
Yes.
this kind of discussion should also come within the report when you're writing the report on the meeting. Okay.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you should take up the yes. Yes.
I have a question. Hello?
Any question? No, right? Something
Hello,
that
can
you
you?
said, I couldn't hear. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. The agenda includes the name of participants.
Yes. Let's suppose the president. Okay. So you may not write the name, but you can say the president, or say the different committee members. You can say a committee member, one of the committee members, Mr. So and so, Mr. ABC.
Like we
He
can
put forward.
address them. Sorry, ma'am.
Yes.
Like we can
Eh,
address them with their designation.
Yes, that would be better. Okay, because since you're giving the names directly, or even if you give names, since they are participants, you can write Mr. X, Mr. Y, whatever. All right. If you
Okay.
want, you can give a fictitious name too. That doesn't matter much. All right. But you have
Okay,
to
ma'am.
see that you have to bring in the different arguments or the discussions that took place and who were the people who initiated the discussions, maybe. All right. So because if there are few agenda, that means points given in the agenda, you have to take up each of the points and discuss, right? So people would be talking, giving for their arguments, their views on a particular or a particular point.
Okay, ma'am.
So you should take up the items of business. You see, this is also important. You should take up the items of business in their order of importance. All right. So if the most important thing that you have in mind is finalizing the date, all right. So that should be discussed first. Next, like suppose the venue is already, you know the venue, maybe the university auditorium, that is the venue. So the venue is already fixed. Now you have to fix the date, right? Next, like who are the people who will be invited, like the colleges, the participants. You have to discuss on that. Next point will be whom you want to, invite as the chief guest. So if you have one particular point, and if you bring forth that point, that they should come in the order of their importance when you place your points. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. And then you can if you have time and also for the exams you have to really think and write. You have to be faster. But when you write your assignments, you'll get a little time, so you can think, and also you can talk about. You can quote people. Maybe this person said this. So within quotation marks, you can give that the principal that let us invite so and so as the chief guest. All right, and that you can put in quotation marks also, right? That means you want to place that particular thing in the direct speech. So the principal said, let us invite say whoever is as the chief guest, right? So that also you can quote. You can use even quotation marks if you want. Some of the statements, not all, one or two of the statements which you feel are very important, or if make you want to sound them to be more important than others, you can even quote, right? And you see statements, and you may if you feel that you may include statistics, tables, and charts where necessary. That is totally up to you. So suppose it's difficult to give a full chart, maybe you can say 20% of the people, voting was done, and 25 people voted for Mr. X to be the chief guest, and 75 people they voted against. That means if 75 people vote against Mr. X to be the chief guest, that means then people don't agree to call a certain person or invite a certain person to be the chief guest. All right. So this kind of data can also be given. Okay. And finally, what you have to do is you have to talk about the minutes. All right. So these are the points which I discussed. You can give, at the end. These were the minutes of the meeting. That means after the meeting is held, there's a person who writes down the minutes of the meeting. That means these are the points on which the entire discussion takes. And also maybe you decided upon the date and time of the next meeting. That means in this particular meeting, some work.
Sorry, ma'am, I can't hear you.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Okay.
you are.
I would. Yeah. So what I said is that suppose during the meeting, people were given different work. They were assigned different work. All right. So suppose one person was given the work of being and inviting the different universities, sending invitations to different universities. Another person was assigned how the competition can be held. All right. Like what would be the topics that would be given, kept for the debate competition? All right. And also, like, what are the different steps that will be that are going to the way the debate competition is going to be held? All right. That means if there are too many participants, how are you going to divide? How are you going to select the, say, best 10? Okay. Or if there are few participants, how you are going to divide uh, people who are for or who are against, and finally how you're going to come to the final debate or the last participants, how you're going to choose. So these are the different ways, there are different works as being assigned to different people. All right, that you can say that these people were given these different works, and to follow up on the work that was given, that has been given in this meeting, another meeting has been scheduled, and the date has to be of course a future date. All right, so the report has, and the name of the person has to be given. That means if you are the academic secretary, you give your name and write your designation. Okay, that you are writing the report.
Okay.
Okay, is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, ma'am, just one more question. So, for each of those,
Mm-hmm.
like organization, institution name, or
Uh-huh.
for whoever the attendees, there would be
Hmm.
a definite paragraph.
Yes, right. Yeah, that is a good point you have brought up. Yeah, try writing in different paragraphs. Okay, so in the introductory paragraph, you may say that a meeting was held on such a such date, such place, the venue and name. Okay, date, venue, time, all that in the first paragraph, and then you talk about different things that were discussed in different paragraphs. All right. So the report format can be of this, like, it can be, this is one of the way you can write the report. One is classification, like what kind of report it is, reporting an event maybe, and then heading, okay, and the description, what was done in the meeting, that was the meeting held to discuss about the, about the forthcoming inter-university debate competition, right? Next, you give the place and time. Then the dynamics. Dynamics means the things that were held. What does the, like? What are the discussions that took place during the meeting? And finally, the conclusion, that throughout the meeting, these were the points which were discussed, and this is the conclusion. We came to this conclusion that yes, this place, this particular place is selected. The venue is this. This is the date. These are the participants, and give a short conclusion of the entire report that you have written. Okay. All right. So this is the report format that you have to write. Now, in the report format, there has to be a heading, proper heading, okay, followed by the descriptions, why the meeting was held, then the place, time, things which were discussed in the meeting, and finally conclusion. These things were discussed, and these are the conclusions that we had, or the summary of the meeting. Okay. This is how you have to write a report of the meeting. Hmm. Well, finally, the last question that we're going to talk about is writing a survey report. Okay, so if we go back here, I think that would be easier. Writing a survey report. So I'm just reading out the question once. A survey was recently conducted in your residential area regarding the creation and maintenance of pedestrian and bicycle friendly sections, which would be restricted, which would be strictly out of bounds for vehicular traffic. Write a report of the survey outlining both the need and difficulties in implementation. Okay. I'm repeating it once more, repeating the question once more so that you understand. A survey was recently conducted in your residential area regarding the creation and maintenance of pedestrian and bicycle friendly sections, which would be strictly out of bounds for vehicular traffic. Write a report of the survey outlining both the need and difficulties in implementation. Okay, so this is a survey report. Now, can any one of you, give me some ideas how to write this? Anybody? Hi, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
miss.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Like first, ma'am,
Yes. So survey earlier we had talked, right? When we make a survey, what do we do? When a person or a company has to make a survey, what do they do?
they do like they gather data. So in the given topic, we first have to understand what are the problems, like the traffic issues, and what is the benefits also. Like if we implement the bicycles, then it is good for the environment. And
You see here, the question is whether in your locality a separate bicycle friendly section should be made or not. Okay, and the bicycle friendly section should not. It should be exclusively for the bikers. All right,
okay,
no
okay, I'm sorry.
no vehicular traffic should use that. Okay,
Okay, okay, okay, okay, okay, okay.
good. Yeah.
Um, uh, well, in the locality, it should be because
Right. So, yeah, can I help you a little bit?
yes, ma'am. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, fine. So, what you see this is the question. Question is whether a bicycle friendly section has to be, whether people agree in building a separate bicycle friendly area in your locality, right? So, you have to make a survey. Survey means what? Collecting data. Okay, survey can be done. So, report can be written only after you have collected enough data on the problem, right? So here, you see, you have to write a report of the survey outlining both the need and difficulties in implementation. All right. So you have to talk about why the bicycle friendly area is required, and also, though it is required, uh, would it, you know, cause the problems? Okay. Are there any other problems related to this? So if there are requirements, and whether you should go for building the bicycle friendly area, or uh, if you build the bicycle area, will there be any other kind of difficulties cropping up? All right. So what you have to do, the first thing is you have to, uh, data, right? So we cannot make a survey, we cannot write a survey report until and unless we have collected data. So for collecting data, there are different ways of doing it. First is, like, suppose for a personal observation. Your from your personal observation, you have seen that yes, the vehicles, that means say the cars, the motorbikes, and even so if it's a main road, even the buses fly on that particular road. So it becomes very difficult for people to ride bicycles, and there should be bicycle friendly areas. It's your personal observation. You can have that, you can use that. Next, you can go out and interview people on their thoughts. What do they think, right? And so when you go out and interview people, there can be, you know, interview is a very good way of collecting data. All right, very good medium. But for interviewing, what you need to have is either you go out, you see, you just go out and keep asking people, go out and ask random questions to people and collect data. You can video it or whatever, or you can also have a questionnaire. It's always good that you have a questionnaire made. All right. So now the questionnaire includes, you can have different questions in the questionnaire. When you ask a person, you maybe after the interview, you see you ask a few questions. You have made a questionnaire where when you ask a person whether he wants a bicycle area friendly area in your locality or not, maybe he says yes. So you put a tick. All right. So you can have different categories. Just for example, I'm telling you, like maybe you can ask questions to people whether they want, the questionnaires are very good to get opinion from people. All right. So after you have met the questionnaire, you can, you should, when you ask people question, you should not give leading questions. Yes or no. Yeah. Don't give any leading questions, but the question should be open to them so that they can tell their views. Now, this is the process of collecting data, making a questionnaire. But here in this, the survey report that you are going to write, you don't have to give the questionnaire. All you have to do is you have to talk about the survey that was conducted. All right. So how the survey was conducted, that you have to say. The first paragraph would be about the problem. What was the problem on which the survey was conducted? Okay. Secondly, that data was collected, people were interviewed, there were questionnaires, and people were interviewed whether they think that this bicycle friendly areas or sections in their locality would help them. Okay. So some people, may say yes to it. Some people may say no. Some people may say that yes, we want bicycle friendly areas in our locality. Some people may say no, we don't want any kind of. This will only, we lose. The road is already narrow. So if we make a different section for the bicycle, the road is going to get narrower, and that will be problematic for the vehicle, for other traffic and also for people. All right. So some people can say this, and some people, maybe they will not give their opinions at all. They will say, no, I don't care, or I'm not bothered, or I don't know, I'll not be able to say. All right. So you can have, say, three sections where number of people who said yes, number of people who said no to the idea, and some people who did not answer. All right. So when you write your report, after in the introduction, you talk about the problem. Secondly, how data was collected. Okay. And thirdly, what was the result of the data that was collected. Okay. So some people say after going through all the data, we found that 70% or 50% people, they said yes to it. Okay. They want bicycle friendly section to be built, or a section should be kept separately for the bicycle friend, the bikers. All right. And some people say 30% people said no, they did not want this section to be separately allocated for the bikers. And again, say 20% people, they did not say anything. All right. So in your conclusion, you have to say why, your understanding of the survey. So you have collected data, you found that this many people, they wanted the bicycle section to be created. 30% people, they did not want it, and some people, they did not give their opinion. All right. So since 50% people say they want the bicycle friendly area, because these are the reasons they want it. All right. And you have to list why they wanted it. Then why this 30% people, they did not want this section to be there, because this could be the difficulties. Okay. And therefore, from the survey, it was understood that creating a bicycle friendly area will help in this way. And again, creating the bicycle friendly area can create difficulties in this particular fields. Okay. And that would be the conclusion. Finally, a conclusion would be there where you talk that, creating the bicycle friendly area could help some people, but could also cause difficulties or pose us difficulties in this many ways. All right. So this is how you have to write the survey report. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Hello? Okay,
No,
lovely.
ma'am.
So, yes.
And can we also write the questionnaire in report writing that was being asked to the people and the answer they gave to that
Yeah,
questionnaire?
sure. Sure, that
I
also you
had
can write.
one more question also.
Yes.
I didn't get that audio technique. Would you mind repeating that?
Which one? Tell me.
Audio technique?
Okay, okay, that one. All right. That okay. So let's just finish this one and then I can go on to that one.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
So do you
Thank
have
you. Sure.
any problem related to this, the survey report? Any problem related to the survey report? The technique is the same. You have to write the topic, then introduction where you talk about the problem, then in the body you detail writing where how the survey was conducted, what were the results of the survey, and uh, what is the opinion that you got from the survey, what were the problems and what were the points and the bad points. Okay, that is the I'm sorry, the positive and the negative points, not the bad points really. Okay, so and then finally giving a conclusion. So that is how you have to write the survey report. Okay. Okay, coming to this, Oreo technique is what when you write the, or for that matter, any kind of writing. Here we are talking about the composition only. You have the opinion or the introduction. Okay, where you tell your readers how you feel and what you think about the particular topic that is given to you. All right. Next comes the body part where you are going to reason why you think what you have written in the introduction part. Okay, so you can have one reason, that means 1 point, 2 point, or many points. All right, and after you have given one reason, try and support your statement with some examples. All right, so whatever your reason is, whatever your point is, try to give proper example to show that yes, since you think this is the way you're establishing your point. Okay, and finally, after you have written all your points, it is your opinion that is the conclusion of the composition, where again you have to always hit the your reader, tell him one more time that what your opinion is and how strong your opinion is about the topic that was given to you. All right. So you have to tell about your opinion in a very strong conclusion. So as I said, opinion, reason, example, again opinion. You start with an opinion, that means the introduction. Then you give your reasons, your points one after the other. And as you give a point, keep giving examples. All right. If you have 2 or 3 points, with each point, you give example which shows or which explains your point further, and then move on to the next point. And finally, again, you end with an opinion, that is the conclusion part, where you very strongly present your points. Okay, is that fine?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, audio technique is applicable only for composition writing or any
No,
kind of writing?
any kind of writing, any kind of writing. Okay. So
Okay.
it always
Thank you.
helps,
Thank you.
because you have an opinion and then you try to, whatever you feel you want to say, you have to give a reason for it, right? I'm saying this is the reason, right? Okay, and especially this is good for your argumentative kinds of essays or argumentative, any kind of argumentative writing, or even if you're describing something, or if you want to give your opinion on a particular thing, this helps a lot. Okay.
Thank you,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, you're most welcome, dear. All right, so I'm sure the all the points that we went through today, they are clear. So if you are asked to write, you will be able to. Yeah.
It's clear.
Okay. So well done. We all did very well today. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. And
Thank you.
just one last thing that I'd like to remind you people is when you write if it is to be, hard copy that is to be submitted, I'm sure you already know it, but I'll just write, once more remind you that you have to write your answers in A4 size. It's white plain sheets, and use blue ink. Okay, and don't write in both the sides. It's just on one side of a sheet that you're going to write. Okay, And when you finish one answer, try to put a margin or an ending line and start the next answer, preferably from a fresh page. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Let me ask you one thing. Like previously in the assignment, I used to color like black and blue.
Yeah, black you can, use for the headings maybe or the question maybe. All right? And the answer is preferably in blue.
Okay, then
Answer
it's
should
fine.
be in blue, not preferably. It should be in blue only. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, I
So,
have submitted my assignment but haven't received any confirmation.
if you anything, official, I'm sorry, I'll not be able to answer. Right? Like, you will have to, contact your study center for that.
And ma'am, one more thing. Like, just can you give us a view that what will with our exams like?
Sorry. Okay, that too I'll not be able to help you with. Hmm? I'm really sorry. Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
ma'am.
Uh, so, yes. So, have we ended today?
Okay, ma'am. Like, when will our next session or counseling?
Actually, I have not received any information yet. I'm sure I will
Okay,
be
ma'am.
able to. Whenever you are informed, I'll also be informed. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.